most conversations around wild woman and like wild woman archetype are so limited, and they're only like half cooked. Let me explain. I oftentimes see and feel that like wild woman archetype gets put on top of us, or better yet, let me explain it this way. Someone else's idea of wild woman gets placed on top of us. And I want to give us a space to allow wild woman to naturally arise within you. Like authentic wild woman, the aspect of authentic wild woman, I want to give us a couple different to feel into, and then I want to give us a big practice at the end for how you can access your truth around wild woman. And that deep, authentic call to reclaim that aspect of wild woman, or to allow that aspect to arise, or to touch into, or to explore, or to express that aspect of wild woman. I remember this was a few years ago. I was living in Australia, and a few women who I sat in lots of circles with, they sat in my circles, we sat in circle together in other women's circles that were held. And I remember two of my dear friends joining a wild woman reclamation course. And they were exploring different facets of the wild woman. It was beautiful work, and it was a lot through movement and a lot through dance. And they come back from like the first exploration, and both of them were sharing similar things of, that was not wild woman for me. Like, that is not what I would call wild woman. That is something that's tame in me, or that was so obvious to me. That's an obvious expression of my feminine. That's a fully reclaimed expression of my feminine. That did not feel free or liberated to me. And that little story is something for us to just like feel into as we go into this exploration. And I want to take us in this short exploration. I want to take us through different expressions of wild woman, like different wild woman archetypes. There are different wild woman archetypes. It's not just like one. We can pick apart the different expressions of wild woman, and I want to do that short and sweet. I mean, there could be 20, there could be 30, but we'll pick apart like 3. And then I want to give us why, why do we hear this call for wild woman? Well, it's oftentimes a deep primal call. So maybe you're feeling that too. Like, I don't even know why I'm looking for things on wild woman. I don't understand it. And it's because it's oftentimes much deeper than the brain. It's oftentimes this like primal, like I know it in my bones. I can feel it in my belly. There's just this call to like unleash my wild woman, or unleash my feminine, and then there's this, well, what is that? What exactly is asking to be awakened, or is asking to rise, or is asking to be unleashed and expressed? And then I want to give us a practice. So all of these explorations lead to the practice. So I wouldn't skip to the practice. I would go through this because it will lead us to the practice, and it'll be short and sweet, like super short and sweet, but it'll take you into that place to discover which expression of wild woman is most singing to you right now. Like, which one in you is going, let me be seen, let me awaken in you. Okay. So, by the way, if you're enjoying this and you want more of this content, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below, like, love it, want more of this. All right, so first section is different aspects of wild woman expression. We work a lot with the 6 faces of the feminine. There could be 12, there could be 20, but the 6 faces of the feminine, and we're gonna go through 3 of them. But we're gonna go through the wild woman aspect held within those 3 faces. I know this might not make any sense, but you can find out much more information on our website. You can see all 6 faces. It's all over the place. Probably the aspect of wild woman that we see most often, is the most popular at the moment, is kind of placed on top of us oftentimes, is this wild woman witch. Is that aspect, is the aspect of feminine that is witch, is earthy based, is connected into like nature, connected into the cycles, the moon cycles, the cycles of the season, the rhythms of the earth, like the greater rhythms. And that is oftentimes the most common wild woman. And I'm not saying it's the one, there's a few, the other ones, the next one's pretty common too, but that aspect of wild woman is like the reclamation of that witch within us, the gifts that come with opening up to that deeply intuitive, deeply connected part of self, like the medicine woman, right? And that's one of the faces. So when I talk about 6 faces, that's one of the faces that we work with a lot, is medicine woman. And if you feel into within medicine woman, within witch, and you feel into, you know, like the different gifts of the witch, like seer, oracle, midwife, very like blood mysteries, womb wisdom, herbs, natural remedies, plants, animals. And you start to feel into that aspect of feminine, and then you feel into wild woman, like wildness within medicine woman, like that wildness of I'm free. I'm free to express my medicine woman. I'm free to reclaim these gifts. I'm free to be this intuitive. I'm free to be this psychic. I'm free to create concoctions in my kitchen that heal my kids. I'm free to do that. And so you kind of feel into this mixing of wild woman and medicine woman. And by the way, this is short and sweet video, right? But if you want more on medicine woman specifically, you'll find a link in the description. You'll also find a link in the top of this video that will lead you to a deeper dive into medicine woman, and also the wild aspect of medicine woman and the reclamation of medicine woman and all of that. But that's one aspect. So let's move on. So let's leave wild woman archetype, medicine woman flavor here. And then let's go here and go wild woman archetype lover flavor. So this is the next face of the feminine, lover. And then you feel into, for some of us, like wild woman for us is, I want to just let rip sexually. I want to be so sexually free. I want that aspect of myself to be so liberated. I would love to be able to express my wildness within the face of the lover. Can you feel that? Can you feel where we're going here? Just feel like, how does this feel in your body? The lover aspect. I want to express it sexually. I want to express it in my love. I want to express it in my creativity. So sexuality is so linked to creativity. And I want wild woman. And you start to feel into wild woman. Then you start to feel into like you can feel into the different archetypal energies, goddess energies, and one that is so beautiful for feeling into wild woman as lover is Lilith. Persephone is good as well, as can be Aphrodite, Venus, although she doesn't always take you to wild woman. You want to start to feel into like dark goddess lovers. Unlock wild woman sexuality. Same in medicine woman, dark goddess. Now I'm starting to talk lots of different lingo, and you can find, if you're curious, like, what does this all mean? There are dark goddess specific videos. So you'll also find a link to dark goddess. You could go there next. You'll also find that in the description to go kind of explore dark goddess and how dark goddess is linked to like wild woman and linked to reclamation of these parts of self, linked to liberation, like liberating these parts of self. That's partially why we are so called to wild woman archetype. And we might not even know it, but it's about this stepping into our fullness, stepping into our allness, and that freedom to be us, to be our allness. And wild woman, it's like, she like gives you permission, like, yes, be that much of a medicine woman. Yes, be that free sexually. And that's the gift of wild woman, is she just opens and she just moves that stuff through us, and she awakens these aspects of self. There's a third aspect that I wanted to weave into this video, and I'll make it short. And there's an entire video on this, which is, for some of us, wild woman is linked to the opening and the awakening of our mystic. There's a wildness to becoming our mystic selves, our priestess selves, our highly connected, highly soul-filled self. There's a wild woman aspect that is required, that is being called within us. Like, I need wild woman freedom to help me open up to my mystic capacities, to help me open up to my full priestess capacities, to help me to open up to whatever my spiritual gifts are, or my spiritual links are, or my soulful life, living from soul. I need a bit of wild woman. So can you feel how there are, and then there's like 10 other ones, 12 other ones, 20 other ones. There's an infinite amount of aspects that wild woman can take us to, that wild woman archetype can take us to. And I think I want to go into part 2 now, right? So I want to go into part 2 and want to feel into why. I think we've talked enough about this. I won't talk about this much, but why? What we gain from working with wild woman. Like, what is it? And we've been throwing around these words, freedom and liberation and fullness and allness of self. She's guilt remover. She will move us past our own judgments and the world's judgments and absorbed conditioning of what we might have around those places. For instance, we might have shame around our sexuality. This is just an easy one to talk about. We might have shame around our sexuality. And part of working with like wild woman energy is, she goes, this is so natural. That's the gift, one of the gifts of wild woman archetypal energy. She goes, this is so natural. There is nothing wrong with your sexual desires. There is nothing wrong with your primal animal parts of self, right? It's the same in the medicine woman, and we can feel into like which medicine woman, and she'll go, there is nothing wrong with you being this intuitive. There is nothing wrong with you being this connected to all of life itself. There's nothing wrong being this psychic or this sensitive to the unseen. That's part of the gift of working with wild women, along with 10 other gifts. But I don't want to go into all of that because I want to give us space to do this practice now. So I want to give us space to do this short and sweet. It's only going to be like a minute, maybe 2 at the most. But feeling into, take a couple of deep breaths for a moment though. And the deep breaths, take them all the way down into your womb space. It doesn't matter if you don't have a womb, just that area of the body, the pelvic bowl, right? We have to get to the guts. Like, that's medicine woman territory. That's wild woman territories, lower chakra territory, right? So when I just said medicine woman, ignore that because I don't want to flavor your experience of this. It's wild woman territory. It's deeper in the body. And so breathing all of your breath, bringing all of your awareness, you might have to shift positions in your body, but going right down into like the guts. You might go into the guts, you might go into your womb space, you might go into your pelvic bowl. And now if you were to feel, just breathing there, staying there, like keeping all of your awareness, all of your attention, all of your focus, just for 30 seconds. That's it. That's all we need, just 30 more seconds. Just staying there, right there, and going, okay, what is the expression of wild woman that is most wanting to awaken in me, that is most wanting to rise in me, that is most wanting to express, that is most wanting to be seen. How does wild woman want to express herself? Does wild woman want to express herself sexually? Does wild woman want to express herself through medicine woman? Does wild woman want to express herself through mysticism? How does wild woman want to express herself? In you, in this moment, that's it. Wild woman might want to express herself through mother. It might be wild, free, liberated, totally connected mother who mothers her children in a very different way. Part of wild woman gift is that she kind of gives society the FU, right? She gives social norms, family patterning, old conditioning, all of the constraints, the FU, the FU. I know a deeper, truer, more authentic way. And she gives us the courage, she gives us the ability to connect into that deep intuitive way. And then she gives us the courage to express in that way. So I would love to hear which aspect of wild woman most called to you in the comments below. I would love to hear it. Oftentimes writing it allows it to arise in a different degree, claiming it, owning it, letting it be seen by another. The witness, the gift of the witness, letting it be seen by another. And I would love to witness for you. The ReWilding team and I would wholeheartedly love to witness. So please leave that comment below and then feel into which video you feel to go into next, right? If it's medicine woman, go to medicine woman. If it's mystic, go to mystic. If it's priestess, right? That's same mystic for us. If it's mother, find a mother video. There's a whole bunch of different links in the description below. There's a whole bunch of different options for you to go to the next, but follow the thread, follow the thread, follow the thread, follow what she's calling.